Hi everybody, just a quick video today to explain some of the changes that we're going to make in the clinic. We are hoping to reopen very soon. We're looking at potentially Monday the 18th as being a date to do so. We've, just like everybody, been trying to react as best we can to this situation, but fortunately last week there was a webinar for osteopaths from one of our professional bodies, and they set out in quite good detail a lot of the things that we'll need to have in place in order to reopen. That's going to make changes to how the clinic actually runs, everything from how we book in to the waiting area to how we use the treatment rooms, what you as patients will be wearing, what I as a practitioner will be wearing, and really for me there's quite a lot of behind the scenes stuff as well in terms of different cleaning materials, disposables that we'll use in the clinic as well. But hopefully I'm just going to explain a couple of those things today. So the first one is whenever you come into the clinic, before you come into the clinic, if you want to make an appointment, you'll have to do so by making a telephone call or booking it online, either that by email, Facebook Messenger, or using the online booking system. Now once that's happened, unlike what would have happened before where it's automatically assumed that that appointment is going to go ahead, I'm going to then send out a pre-screening questionnaire. Depending on your answers for that questionnaire, you'll either be coming to your appointment or you won't. If you don't hear from me, you can assume that the appointment is going to go ahead. But if you do hear back from me, it'll be to say that for whatever reason, and it'll be explained to you that the appointment isn't going to happen. The most likely reason for an appointment not happening, if you've attempted to book, it's either because you are in a high risk group, somebody who is likely to be around the virus and maybe more likely to bring it in, or you're in a high risk individual who is not likely to fare well if you were to catch it. So those two groups of people unfortunately are not going to be having appointments in the foreseeable future. Until something like that, something changes, that'll remain the case. Now when it does change, of course, I'll be more than happy to see you back in, but this is really for both your protection and the protection of any other patient who wants to come in. So once you come into the treatment or into the clinic, the waiting room will remain pretty much same as it was. I'll take you out there now. There are a few differences in that the number of seats has been reduced just down to the one. Fairly lonely looking chair all by itself, and there'll be a whiteboard with lots of instructions as to what you're supposed to do. The most obvious one of these is all about hand hygiene. So there will be either alcohol wipes or there'll be alcohol gel made available for you to use. Obviously it's going to be difficult for me to police using it, but it's important to me that you do. And obviously not only are you a potential risk to anyone you meet in the street or a potential risk to me, so if possible, do me the courtesy of just following the advice on the whiteboard. I've also, for the first time in a very long time, updated the blackboard. I'll be putting that on upline very soon. Once we're ready for your appointment, same as before, coming through those doors here to the treatment or to the consultation area. Now the consultation area hasn't really changed an awful lot. The process doesn't need to. There's enough separation between us. The only thing is at the minute, just because I've been cleaning, the chair is pushed tight against the desk. Obviously that won't be the case. We're trying to observe the 2 meters as much as possible when we're in this sort of situation. That said, we do have a number of other steps that we're going to implement to try to reduce the risk of large droplet spread. That's the sort of large droplets that happen when somebody's coughing, sneezing, or maybe they accidentally spit when they're talking. I'm going to be wearing a mask for all appointments. Every patient is going to be asked to wear a mask. You can either bring your own or I can provide you with one, and there'll be a supplementary charge of £1 on top of your appointment fee if that's the case. It's not so much necessarily the cost of the mask, it's actually acquiring the masks full stop. They're very, very difficult to come by. I'm going to be using the fluid resistant dental masks, very good quality. If you have something of your own you want to use, that's fine. It's really just to cover the nose and mouth, just to make sure that if somebody, yourself, when you're in, if you do cough or sneeze or something involuntary like that, that the droplets aren't going to go too far. So that's the first thing. Then other things I'll be wearing, I'm going to be wearing a waterproof apron, sort of like a dinner lady style apron. That's disposable, will be changed after every single patient and disposed of. That's again just to try and reduce any risk from large droplet spread, either from me to the apron to the patient, or patient to the apron to me, and then subsequently patients down the line. I think that's this easy bit. That's the sort of obvious things that I'm sure you might have imagined yourself. On top of that, I have come up with a more detailed cleaning plan. There always was one, it wasn't formalized as such, but now with everything that's going on, there is a more formal plan. That plan is going to be segregated into groups of after every single appointment, after every session. So session would be the morning session, afternoon or evening session, end of day, end of week. Everything from cleaning down the treatment table, door handles, the banister going up the stairs, all those sorts of things, to removal of bins and hoovering and everything else. I mentioned the banister going up the stairs because we have a plan in place to try and reduce any risk of spread from a thing called aerosol. Now, aerosol is where the virus is more likely to get airborne. Things like coughs, sneezes, talking, things like that are maybe likely to produce large droplet spread, but aerosol is a much finer problem. The recommendation is that between patients that we should leave for 20 minutes for the room to aerate. That's so that any aerosol airborne virus will fall to the floor and become less of a contamination risk for anybody else. It might seem a little bit like overkill because we're presuming that anyone who has symptoms will be filtered out by doing the pre-screening test. We're then hoping that anyone who is more likely to be carrying it is not, or at risk of catching it from somebody else, that they're going to be caught and not come in as well. We're hoping that any of the virus in the droplets is going to be caught in the mask and not spread. So the chances of somebody slipping through all those safety nets, it's not impossible, but we're just trying to reduce our risk as much as possible. So if somebody was to come in and we were doing some technique where there's maybe some pressing on the chest or twisting or something like that, there's a chance that could cause some aerosol. That aerosol, then we're advised that, I think dentists it might be 15 minutes, we were advised for 20. I'm going to leave 40 minutes between patients using a treatment room. I'm in the very fortunate position that I can do that because I have a second treatment room which I just recently made. It's a little bit last minute. As you can see, I have been redecorating in here. For anyone who's never been before, the clinic didn't always look like this. This is it, freshly painted, redecorated. At some stage I probably would have got around to doing upstairs, but I haven't got it finished. But I'll take you up there now and show you what that's like. So this was just an empty office. I've now repurposed it into a second treatment room. So you can see here, that's the portable table. Some of you might not have even known there was a portable table. There's Jeremy. I don't have the desk and everything else, so for the time being, I'll be sitting on the sofa and there'll be this additional chair here for patients. Now, as I said, redecorating this place wasn't even on my radar. I didn't need to do it. Didn't even know I was going to be using this room until last Friday, so obviously the paintwork is a bit sketchy. Don't judge me. It's not going to be a hygiene risk. It is definitely a bit of an eyesore, but I think the rest of the room is very, very usable. Again, all the same cleaning rituals will be applied up here. The only other real difference apart from this room not having a desk or anything else like that is just the portable table. Now the portable table is not adjustable in terms of height, so throughout the appointment I'll not be able to adjust it up and down. That's more of an issue for me, not for you as a patient, so honestly don't be concerning yourself about that. It won't be a problem. I think that's more or less everything. The last thing is potentially just then about payment. So just while this is all going on, I'm going to no longer take cash payments. I have a facility where I can still take card payments, and of course that term will be wiped down before and after. And I've got a facility where I can take, I can send people online links as well. So if you'd rather just be sent a link and not have to get your card out or anything like that, entirely possible, not a problem. I think that's everything. If there's anything else, I'll probably post it in an email or up on the Facebook page, or Instagram, or whatever. But so keep abreast of all those pages for any updates. I have a couple of patients who have been in quite acute pain over the break. I am going to prioritize them and give them the first refusal on the appointments, that when they first go live. As I say, I'm still waiting on some PPE to come in, so although my target is Monday the 18th, unless that PPE comes in, I won't be opening. Say it's a safety risk for you, safety risk for me, safety risk for everyone else in your own home. So we're just trying to keep that risk as low as possible. If you have any questions, of course, just give me a shout. I think that's probably enough of my rambling for today. It's hungry and it's lunchtime, so I'm gonna go. See you soon.